Have you ever wondered how flour goes through machines, steam, and drying to become noodles? Today, we're going inside the process at the Maruchan factory. Stay until the end, because it may seem simple, but it's quite the opposite. Let's get started.
Phase 1. Selection, dosing and dough. Preparation. The manufacturing of Maruchan instant noodles begins with the selection of high-quality wheat flour, specifically chosen for its gluten content. This detail is essential because gluten is responsible for giving the noodle elasticity, firmness, and resistance throughout the entire process, from shaping to rehydration in the consumer's kitchen. The flour arrives at the plant in large silos, and from there it is automatically dosed into industrial mixers. Nothing is left to chance. Each batch is weighed with millimetric precision to ensure that every final portion always has the same texture and behavior. Purified water is added to this flour, but it is not ordinary water. It contains a precise combination of salt, alkaline agents such as sodium carbonate and potassium carbonate, and a small amount of vitamin B2. These compounds not only improve flavor and preservation, but are also responsible for the slightly yellowish color typical of ramen and its elastic structure. The massive industrial mixers begin to rotate. Their mechanical arms work with constant force, integrating every particle of flour with the enriched water. During this process, the flour hydrates and the gluten begins to form a flexible network, something like a microscopic mesh that will become the skeleton of the noodle. This kneading process lasts several minutes and is supervised by sensors that control temperature, humidity, and consistency. If the dough is too dry or too wet, it is corrected in real time. At the end, a homogeneous, soft, and elastic dough is obtained, perfectly prepared to become thousands of meters of continuous noodles. However, this dough is not cut yet. It must first be transformed into uniform sheets that will serve as the base for everything that follows. Phase 2. Sheeting, thinning, and cutting of the noodles. The dough now moves into a system of high-precision metal rollers. These rollers not only stretch the dough, but gradually thin it. Each pass reduces the thickness by a few millimeters until reaching the exact thickness defined by the product recipe. This step is far more important than it seems. When the dough is sheeted, the gluten chains align, which gives the noodle its well-known strength. This structure prevents the noodles from breaking when they are rehydrated with hot water, months after being manufactured. When the sheet reaches the perfect thickness, it enters the cutting zone. There, a set of rotating blades spins at high speed, cutting the dough into long, thin strands. These blades do not just cut straight. They are designed to create the characteristic waves of instant ramen. These waves are not decorative. They serve a key technical function. They increase the surface area of the noodle, allowing it to absorb the broth faster and more evenly when prepared by the consumer. They also help steam and hot air act more effectively in the following stages. The already cut noodles are still long and continuous, like a carpet of strands moving along the conveyor belt toward their first cooking stage. Phase 3. Steam, pre-cooking and stabilization. Before drying, the noodles must be slightly cooked. To do this, they enter a high-pressure steam tunnel. This tunnel surrounds them with hot steam for approximately 1 to 2 minutes. During this process, the starch in the flour gelatinizes. This means that the starch molecules absorb water and reorganize, fixing the shape of the noodle. In other words, this is where the internal structure is permanently defined, allowing the noodle to properly rehydrate months later. This initial cooking is critical. If it is insufficient, the noodles will not rehydrate properly. If it is excessive, they will lose firmness. That is why temperature, steam pressure, and exposure time are electronically controlled. As the noodles exit the tunnel, they are still hot and moist. At that moment, they receive a light spray of hot water that adjusts surface moisture and completes starch gelatinization. This improves the final texture and ensures fast rehydration when prepared. Then, the long strands of noodles are separated and cut into individual portions. A mechanical system arranges and molds them into compact blocks, either round for cups or rectangular for traditional packages. This shaping is not only practical for packaging, but also ensures that the noodles cook evenly when hot water is added. Phase 4. Dehydration and structure. Fixation. Once shaped, the noodle blocks enter hot air chambers. Here, one of the most important steps of the process takes place: moisture removal. For several minutes, streams of hot air circulate at high speed around the noodles. The heat evaporates the internal water until reducing its content to just 8% to 10%. This level of moisture allows the noodles to be preserved for months without refrigeration. At the same time, this dehydration creates a porous structure inside the noodle. These microcavities are what later absorb hot water in just 3 to 4 minutes when the product is prepared. This hot air drying method, unlike traditional frying, reduces fat content and maintains a more stable texture. Everything is designed so that the final product is light, resistant, and easy to rehydrate. When they leave the chambers, the noodles are still hot and fragile. Therefore, they pass through ventilated belts that cool them gradually. This slow cooling prevents cracks or deformations that would affect their quality. Phase 5. Preparation and dosing of seasonings. While the noodle blocks go through their cooling stage, in another section of the plant, one of the most delicate processes of the entire production takes place: flavor creation. Here, the seasonings that will give identity to each variety of instant noodles are prepared. To achieve this, large-capacity industrial mixers are used, where salt, spices, natural extracts, flavor enhancers, powdered fats, and, depending on the recipe, small particles of dehydrated vegetables and meats are combined. Each variety has a specific formulation developed after years of testing. These recipes are adjusted with extreme precision so that flavor, aroma, and intensity are always the same, regardless of whether the product is manufactured in Asia, America, or Europe. The plant laboratories constantly analyze these mixtures to ensure they meet the standards established by the brand. Before mixing, many of the ingredients go through grinding and sieving processes. This allows obtaining particles of uniform size, which is key for all components to be distributed evenly in each packet. Once ready, the ingredients are introduced into the mixers, where paddles and rotors combine them until forming a perfectly balanced powder. Then, the seasoning goes through automatic dosing systems that measure very small quantities with high precision and place them into individual sachets. Each sachet must contain exactly the same proportion of ingredients, as even a minimal variation could alter the final taste of the product. Periodically, samples of these sachets are sent to the quality control area. There, specialized technicians prepare noodles using the newly produced seasonings to evaluate dissolution time, aroma, and final taste. Only if all these parameters match the defined profile does production continue. Phase 6. Product integration and packaging. Once the noodle blocks have gone through drying and reached the correct moisture level, and the seasoning sachets are fully prepared, both elements move to a key area of the plant, the integration and packaging line. This is where all the components that were manufactured separately come together to form the final product that will reach the consumer. The noodle blocks move along conveyor belts synchronized with the systems that feed the seasoning sachets. Electronic sensors verify that each block receives the exact number of sachets corresponding to its recipe. For traditional packages, the process is fully automated. A noodle block is placed on a sheet of laminated plastic material along with one or more seasoning sachets. This sheet folds around the contents and passes through a thermal sealing system that hermetically closes the package. The material used acts as a barrier against moisture, oxygen, and light, factors that could affect the product's texture and flavor. In the case of cup or bowl formats, the noodle block is placed inside the rigid container. Then the seasoning sachets are added, and finally a lid is sealed using heat or pressure. The packaging machines operate at very high speeds, processing hundreds of units per minute without losing precision. Each package automatically receives a print with the production date and batch number, key information for traceability. Phase 7. Grouping, final control, and distribution. Once the instant noodle packages are completely sealed, final verification begins. Each unit passes through automatic inspection systems with high-resolution cameras and weight sensors. These machines check in real time that each package contains exactly what is required: the noodle block, the seasoning sachets, and a proper seal. If a package shows defects or incorrect weight, it is automatically removed from the line. Approved products continue to the grouping area, where they are organized into rows and placed into cardboard boxes designed to protect them during transport. The boxes are sealed, labeled with key information, and stacked on pallets. These pallets are wrapped with plastic film to prevent shifting and ensure safe transport. From here, the noodles begin their journey to distribution centers, supermarkets, stores, and vending machines in different countries. Each pallet represents thousands of meals ready to be prepared in just a few minutes. the result of a perfectly coordinated chain of processes where automation, quality control, and logistics work together to ensure that the product reaches the final consumer in optimal condition.
And you, have you ever tried Maruchan noodles or soups? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.